Good day, everyone. Greetings to Mr. Alvin, Mr. Mohan, and Mr. Aish. My name is Pavitra, CEO of Greenwave Capital Organization, representing as issuer in our discussion today on green bonds in India, which we are issuing to support the Sustainable Development Goals of India, particularly in sectors crucial to the country's long-term environmental and economic resilience. As an issuer, it is my responsibility to not only create bonds that are financially viable, but also to ensure that they align with the pressing sustainability needs of India. I will outline how these bonds are structured, their benefits for investors, and their role in financing India's green revolution.
Hello, Pavitra. I'm Mohan. I'm the regulator for the meeting now.
Hello, nice to meet you.
And my name is Aish Danish, and I am the investor, and I will be researching your bond issue.
Okay, that's great.
Hi, my name is Elvin, and I'll be the representative of a rating agency of this evaluation of this bond.
All right, Mr. Alvin. Okay, let me show you some attachment here. Give me a moment. You all can see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, all right. Okay, I will start with the first slide. Before that, I will be sharing 3 types of green bonds that can be issued in India. So let's see which one gets the attention of our investor today. Okay, first and foremost, renewable energy sovereign green bond. Okay, let's look at the focus of this green bond. The primary goal of this bond is to finance large-scale renewable energy projects. This includes critical initiatives like solar farms, wind energy installation, and green hydrogen projects. Okay, why we need to choose this green bond? Here are some reasons. Renewable energy is at the core of India's ambition to achieve 500 gigawatts of non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030. These bonds are designed to channel investment into the energy transition, which will reduce dependency on fossil fuels and drive sustainable growth. Okay, let's look into some example project of this bond. One of the projects we are funding through this bond is Batla Solar Park in Rajasthan. The Batla Solar Park in Rajasthan, which is one of the largest solar farm in the world, generates 2.2 gigawatt of clean energy and helps reduce approximately 4 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions annually.
Thank you for
This project
asking,
not
and
only
I have a question for
contributes to
you.
India's renewable
How does
energy
the regulatory
target,
framework
but
ensure that issuers
also
have the
improves the
flexibility to
environmental and
innovate
economic
and design
landscape
green
of the region?
projects while still maintaining
Okay, the
compliance
impact by
with national
investing
and international
in renewable
standards?
energy through this sovereign bond, we can directly contribute to India's ambitious emissions reduction goals, ensure long-term energy security, and attract substantial international investor interest, given the increasing global focus on ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance investment. Okay, let's move on to second bond, which is Sustainable Urban Infrastructure Bond. The focus is this investment in sustainable urban infrastructure, which includes projects such as smart cities, green buildings, and clean public transportation system. Here is why. With urbanization growing rapidly in India, sustainable infrastructure is essential not only for reducing emissions, but also for improving the quality of life in our cities. This investment will help future-proof urban areas and support cleaner and smarter cities. Example project for this green bond is the electrification of metro system in Delhi and Mumbai is one such project that is being financed by these bonds. Additionally, we are funding energy efficient housing under the Smart Cities Mission, which aims to make the cities more livable and less dependent on polluting energy sources. Okay, while impact of this green bond is these projects will reduce air pollution, improve energy efficiency, and create a more sustainable and livable urban environment. By funding these initiatives, we are helping to lay the foundation for future cities that are not only technologically advanced but also environmentally responsible. Okay, now we move on to the last green bond, which is climate resilient agriculture bond. Okay, as you can see, the focus of this green bond is this green bond promotes sustainable agriculture practices that enhance climate resilience, especially in rural areas. This includes projects aimed at sustainable irrigation, water conservation, and climate resilient crop production. Okay, the reason is agriculture remains a cornerstone of India's economy, but it is heavily affected by climate variability, such as erratic monsoons and prolonged droughts. These projects are crucial for maintaining food security and improving the livelihoods of farmers. The example project of this green bond is the financing of micro irrigation system in Maharashtra, a state that is particularly prone to droughts. This system will help to optimize water use, improve crop yields, and ensure that farming remains sustainable in the face of changing climate. Okay, if you look into the impact of this green bond, investing in climate resilient agriculture ensures food security for the nation, enhances the incomes for farmers, and improves water use efficiency, which is essential for addressing the looming water scarcity challenges in rural India. Okay, to make you all understand more clearly, let's look at some key comparison among these three green bonds. Okay. I've done the time series analysis here, so you all have a look. Okay. The issuance of renewable energy bonds has shown consistent growth over the 6-year period, increasing from 1 billion in 2018 to 6 billion in 2023. This is shown here, so you all can see. Okay, this growth reflects strong demand for financing renewable energy projects like solar farms, wind energy, and green hydrogen initiatives. The growth rate has fluctuated slightly but remained consistent high, averaging 22% annually over the 6 years. Peak growth of 25% occurred in 2020 and again in 2023, likely driven by government policies supporting renewable energy projects and investors' interest in ESG compliant instruments. Yields have remained stable, ranging 6.3 to 6.6 and with an average of 6.5 across these years. This is comparable to traditional government bond, making renewable energy bonds both secure and profitable for investors. Okay, based on the comparison that has been made, as you all can see, the renewable energy sovereign green bond turns out to be the best performing green bond in India. So here
Sorry
you can
for interrupting,
see.
yeah. Sorry for interrupting, Miss Pavitra.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
do you think this green bond is well structured? Can you explain on this?
Okay, I will answer your question. And Sorry, thank you for your question, Mr. Mohan. Okay, let's look at the structure and key features of this green bond, which is renewable energy sustainable green bond. Okay, first and foremost, alignment of global standard. This bond compile with the green bond principle of the International Capital Market Association, ICMA. Second is use of proceeds. Funds are allocated exclusively to green projects, such as the development of solar parks in Rajasthan and offshore wind energy in Tamil Nadu. The third is transparency. We provide regular reports on the progress of these projects and their environmental impact, ensuring that investors stay informed and confident in the impact of their investment. Lastly is third-party verification. All projects funded by these bonds undergo with independent verification and audits to ensure they meet rigorous sustainability criteria, providing transparency and assurance to the investors. So, did I answer for your question, Mr. Mohan?
Yeah. I understand it very well.
Okay. Since it's clear, we move on to the financial stability and risk management. Okay, as we look at India's financial stability on this green bond, with the capital adequacy ratio of 16% and a return on asset of 1.4% in 2022, India's banking system is well capitalized and profitable, providing a robust foundation for bond markets. Okay, and on the other hand, RBI's advanced risk analysis. The Reserve Bank of India employs comprehensive stress testing to assess solvency, liquidity, and market risk. Recent stress tests show that major Indian banks can withstand deposit runoff up to 20%, underscoring resilience in volatile market conditions. So this framework ensures that sovereign green bonds are backed by a stable financial ecosystem and robust governance practices. So far, everything clear? Is there any question to ask?
Yeah, I have a question for Ms. Pavitra. So for me as an investor, how does India's green bond performance compare to the country leaders like Europe and China?
Okay, that's a very good question. And thank you for your question, Mr. Aish. Okay, I have done a comparative analysis to make you understand more clearly. Okay, let's look into that. Okay. As you all can see, the European Union has the most advanced and regulated green bond market, supported by strict compliance frameworks such as European Union Green Bond Standard and Green Taxonomy. The European Union accounts for more than 50% of global green bonds issuance. Strict regulations ensure minimal greenwashing and attracting institutional investors. Okay, for example, as you can see here, in 2022, the European Union issued 12 billion in green bonds for clean energy and infrastructure projects with annual impact reporting, while India in 2023 issuance of 16 crore, which is equivalent to 2 billion, incorporates similar transparency and accountability measures to attract foreign investors. Okay. While we look the comparison of China and India, China is the second largest issuer of green bonds globally, focusing on large-scale infrastructure and renewable energy projects. China issues green bonds at a rapid pace, with projects often tied to government-backed renewable energy initiatives. India's sovereign green bond funds significant initiatives like Adla Solar Park, the world's largest solar farm, as I mentioned above. Like China, India's green bond are government-backed and enduring minimum credit risk. Okay. Example for China and India is a 3 billion green bond was issued to fund offshore wind farms with the projected annual capacity of 10 gigawatt. This is for China bond. While for India's sovereign green bond, allocations include projects such as 1 gigawatt solar park in Gujarat, reducing over 1 million tons of carbon dioxide annually. Okay, now we look into the insights from my comparative analysis. Okay, market trends. India's green bond issuance growth rate parallels China's early stage growth with a projected 15% annual increase. While we look at the impact metrics, European Union bonds reduce carbon dioxide emissions at an average of 0.8 tons per $1,000 invested, while India's sovereign green bond achieved reduction of 1 ton of $1,000 invested, showcasing higher impact efficiency. Okay, now, okay, as you can see here, India's emerging market shows strong annual growth of 15% in green bond issuance. So the total volume is equivalent to USD 10 billion, is smaller than the European Union and China. You all can see here, the annual growth rate is 15%, which is higher compared to European Union and China, 8% and 12%. Okay, is that clear, Mr. Aish?
Yes, I can see now which kind of green bond I can pick to invest.
Okay, before that I will come to your part. Why investors should invest in sovereign green bond? Okay, we look at the financial returns first. Okay. First of all, we look into the yield performance. Renewable energy sovereign green bonds typically provide yields comparable to regular government bonds. For example, in the case of 2023, the yields were competitive at around 6.5%, which is comparable to 10-year government securities in India, demonstrating that investors do not sacrifice financial returns when opting for green bonds. Okay, while we look at the demand, renewable energy bonds have gained strong investor interest globally. The demand for these bonds is steadily growing, especially in emerging markets like India, due to their measurable environmental impact and the strong backing of the government. Okay, the second is environmental and social impact. The first one is carbon dioxide emission reduction. Projects funded by this sovereign green bond avoid million tons of carbon dioxide emission annually. For instance, the Batla Solar Park alone offsets approximately 4 million tons of carbon dioxide each year. This level of impact is significant and makes these bonds highly attractive to environmentally conscious investors. Okay, the last is energy efficient and infrastructure. The bonds support projects that help India achieve its target of 500 gigawatt renewable energy by 2030, reducing the country's reliance on fossil fuels. These projects contribute to the long-term energy security, which is critical for both economic growth and environmental sustainability. So yeah, that's all from me. Any questions to ask?
Yes, I have some question.
Yeah, you can proceed.
May I know what are the major risks associated with this project funded by this bond, and how are they mitigated?
Okay. The major risks include project delays, cost overruns, and underperformance in achieving environmental goals. These are mitigated through the strict project planning, government oversight, and independent third-party audits to ensure funds are used effectively and progress is monitored regularly. Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm quite understand. Thanks for the answer.
Okay, so that's all from my part. So, investor, Mr. Aish, have you ever thought about making an investment that not only gives you solid returns but also makes a real difference in the world? So, I think this is a golden opportunity for you to lead the way in sustainable investing. Honestly, it's rare to find an investment that checks all the boxes, safe, impactful, and rewarding. I think it's worth considering, and I would like to hear your thoughts. So, what do you say?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Pavitra. You have shown me the three green bonds that I will try to give some time to research more, and we'll have another meeting to let me give the opinion based on the green bond that I will pick.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Aish.
The second meeting with all of us, and today I'm here to present my strategy as an investor. After deep thoughts and research and persuasion from the issuer, I think I will be investing around probably 5 millions in renewable energy sovereign green bonds, which is a secure government issued instrument designed to fund environmentally sustainable projects. These bonds offer a unique opportunity to align financial returns with sustainability goals, making them an essential part of the portfolio. So India is one of the promising markets for renewable energy sovereign green bonds, backed by strong economic growth, fiscal stability, and proven commitment to climate action. So I will outline key economic indicators, environmental benefits that I got from the issuer, and financial data drawing on recent IMF and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development insights to demonstrate why I chose sovereign green bonds as an optimal choice. So as the issuer have mentioned earlier in her presentation, the purpose of India's new renewable energy sovereign green bonds are specifically designed to fund projects such as renewable energy initiative. Project includes solar farms, wind park, and green hydrogen production, supporting India's target for achieving 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel. After that, sustainable infrastructure. This includes energy efficient urban infrastructure and electrify public transport. And then addressing issues like water scarcity and sustainable land use. So before I move on, is there any other question? Yes.
Yes, I have a question. So, are the environmental benefits from projects like 1 gigawatt solar park in Gujarat, which offsets 1 million tons of carbon dioxide annually, aligned with your ESG investment criteria?
Why, of course. Project like Gujarat Solar Park, as you have mentioned directly, contribute to significant carbon dioxide reduction and renewable energy capacity, aligning perfectly with my ESG investment goals. The tangible impact of this project reinforces the value of investing in India's sovereign green bonds. So next, I will go to the economic indicators where I will underpin sovereign green bonds and India's fiscal position. So according to the IMF, India's GDP projected to grow at 6.7% and 6.8%, driven by the robust domestic demand. So globally, GDP growth remains steady at 3.2% in 2024 and 25, as per the OECD. India's strong growth reinforces its capacity to service debt and execute large-scale green projects efficiently and effectively, making it sovereign green bond a reliable choice. So at the inflation trends, the IMF highlight India's successful efforts in moderating inflation, creating a stable macroeconomic environment for long-term investment. And globally, inflation is expected to align with central bank targets by 2025, further reducing the risk. So all the research I've found is from the OECD written statement to the International Monetary Fund Committee, 2024 IMF and World Bank fall meetings. This is the document I can give to all of you later. And then so move on about banking and financial stability. India's banking system is well capitalized with a capital adequacy ratio of 16% as of 2022, positioning it completely among global peers. So profitability has also improved with a return of asset of 1.4% in 2022, reflecting financial resilience. As you can see that I've shown you in my presentation about the time series analysis and statistic in charts. Okay. So as for the environmental factors, sovereign green bonds not only provide financial security but also deliver measurable environmental impact. As what the issuers, Ms. Pavitra has mentioned, India's green bonds fund critical initiatives including renewable energy, like making the windmill, and then climate resilient infrastructure and low carbon technologies. This effort aligns with global priorities like the OECD Inclusive Forum on Carbon Mitigation Approaches, emphasizing international cooperation on emissions reduction. After that, sovereign green bonds directly finance India's ambitious renewable energy targets, ensuring measurable and transparent outcomes. And then the IMF report highlights India's use of fiscal tools and bond markets to channel funds into climate-friendly projects, ensuring alignment with global sustainability goals. The proceeds of sovereign green bond has been allocated to major projects such as what the issue have mentioned, the solar park in Gujarat, which offset 1 million tons of carbon dioxide annually while powering 200,000 homes in India's green bonds that have also achieved higher carbon dioxide reduction per $1,000 invested compared to the euros of 0.8 tons. So is there any question?
I have a question, Mr. Ash.
Yes.
Do the disclosure requirements on the allocation of sovereign green bonds proceeds align with international standards, meet your expectations for accountability?
Yes, the alignment with ICMA green bond principles ensures transparency and accountability. As I mentioned before, about the environmental factor that include detailed reporting on the allocation of proceeds, project impacts, and third-party verification. These measures meet my expectation as they provide clear insight into how funds are used and their environmental outcome.
This has also been mentioned by the issuer herself. So as the comparative insights, India's green bond market stands out among global issuers, as Ms. Pavitra mentioned. I mean that Indian sovereign green bond adhere to the green bond principle, which is ICMA, ensuring transparency and accountability. So, like she said before, compared to Europe and Chinese green bonds, India's sovereign green bond showcase higher impact efficiency. For instance, Eurobonds, 12 billion issued in 2022 with annual impact reporting. Meanwhile, China, 3 billion green bonds supported a 10 gigawatt offshore wind farm. Meanwhile, India's green bond issuance is growing at 15% annual rate, though the total volume of 10 billion remains smaller compared to the global leader. As the example, the Bajha Solar Park, which is the world largest, and Gujarat Solar Park highlight the significance and efficiency of India's investment. So let's move on to the key feature of sovereign green bonds that interest me, which is in the credit rating and security. So in my opinion, sovereign green bond benefit from government backing, significantly reducing the default risk. And from the research, the IMF underscores India's robust fiscal governance, ensuring its green bond remain a secure option. As for the liquidity and bond market strength, India's banking system holds a high proportion of securities, which is 26% of total assets, reflecting the depth and liquidity of its bond market.
I have a question for you, Mr. Aish.
Yes.
With Indian bank holding 26% of their total asset in security, do you see sufficient liquidity to support your investment strategy?
That's from your question and my research about the sovereign green bond. I think absolutely. The high proportion of assets held in securities reflect a deep and liquid bond market, which is vital for flexibility in investment and secondary trading. This liquidity is a critical factor for choosing sovereign green bond, ensuring ease of entry and exit from the market for me as an investor. So let's move on for the maturity in the key feature of sovereign green bond, which is sovereign green bonds often have longer maturities. So it is ideal for me as an investor that is long term. India's stable macroeconomic outlook further minimizes the risk associated with the long-term investment. So move on from my opinion and my research and the benefits that will be given for me as an investor. So I think investing in renewable energy sovereign green bond also offer clear advantages such as financial returns. Yields are competitive with traditional bonds, ensuring no trade-off between sustainability and profitability. What about security? It is a government backing which minimizes the credit risk, providing a safe investment vehicle. And last but not least, the environmental contribution. As what Ms. Parvita have mentioned at the end of her presentation, investment that are directly fund projects that enhances energy efficiency, expand renewable capacity, and reduce carbon footprint. So to conclude my presentation, renewable energy sovereign green bonds represent a secure and forward-looking investment opportunity. It is also backed by strong fiscal and financial fundamentals. This instrument offers both financial stability and environmental impact. And the IMF's data on India's capital adequacy, which is 60% profitability, 1.4 of return of asset, and high securities of P6% reinforces the reliability of its sovereign green bonds, coupled with its commitment to climate action. India emerges as a leading market for sustainable investment. Moving forward, I will use the time series analysis to monitor more about the yield trends, performance, and market dynamics. This will more ensure that my target and portfolio remain aligned with both financial and environmental goals. So by investing in renewable sovereign green bond, I will secure my financial future while contributing to more sustainable world. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Arch, for the presentation just now. And to continue, I will present the evaluation of the sovereign green bond that is from Indian. Okay, let's start. And first, for the introduction, I would like to tell all of you about the role of the rating agency. So the role of the rating agency is to assess the creditworthiness of issuer and the bonds they issue. And in this case, it's about more than just financial stability. It's also about the environmental impact of the project financed by the bonds. And today, I will walk you through our process for evaluating the bonds from financial analysis to environmental impact assessment. And then we will conclude with our rating and recommendation. For the objective in this evaluation, we will answer the two critical questions. First one is about the financial stability, which is this bond financially stable given Indian economic performance and fiscal policy? And the second one is environmental impact, which is does it deliver on its environmental promises, such as reducing carbon emission and fostering renewable energy investment. And therefore, by analysis financial and environmental risks, our rating will provide the investor with a clear picture of the bond's potential return, associated risks, and alignment with global green finance standards. Our analysis is grounded in data-driven insights using a panel data approach to track performance over time. And for the methodology, we have data collection and analysis. In our data collection, we have gathered data from 2015 to 2023, which covering key financial metrics, that is GDP growth, fiscal deficit, debt to GDP ratio, inflation, and bond yield. And on the environmental side, we analysis renewable energy capacity, carbon emission, and green investment. This is the data collection that I have got from World Bank data and National Stock Exchange of India, which is NSE. And this is the time series of the sovereign green bond, as we can see here. And for the key finding from panel data analysis, we have concluded two types, which is financial risk and environmental risk. From the view of financial risk, our panel regression revealed a positive correlation between fiscal deficit and bond yield. We have got to know that debt to GDP ratio is high, which is at 85.3%. And from the GDP growth, we know that there is 9.69% in 2021, which is at offset risk. Therefore, from here we can know that inflation is manageable, which contributing to economic stability. And from the environmental risk, we know that investment in renewable energy capacity, which grew from 44 gigawatt in 2015 to 176 gigawatt in 2023, which show a negative correlation with bond yield. This indicates that increased grid investment reduce perceived risk. And from Indian carbon emission per capita stood at 2.07 metric ton in 2023, which is relatively low compared to the global average. This performance we know that could enhance the bond credibility as a sustainable investment vehicle. And from the green investment as a percentage of GDP, which is rose from 0.4% in 2015 to 1.5% in 2023, which showcasing Indian commitment to sustainability. And from the overall insight, we conclude that the financial risks are moderate but manageable. We know that from the fiscal deficit point of view, which represent the difference between the government total revenue and total expenditure, which is a key indicator of financial health. Although India has experienced a relatively high fiscal indicator of financial health, these have been somewhat mitigated by robust economic growth and effective fiscal management. I'm sorry. The government ability to manage and reduce this deficit over time will be critical to maintain financial stability and investor confidence. And from the economic risk point of view, we know that environmental risks are minimal, supported by India's strong renewable energy and climate commitment. India has made significant strides in increasing its renewable energy capacity, growing from 44 gigawatt in 2015 to 176 gigawatt in 2023. This substantial investment in renewable energy not only reduce dependence on fossil fuel, but also position India as a leader in sustainable energy. The increasing capacity is a strong indicator of the country commitment to environmental sustainability, which lowering perceived environmental risks. And in conclusion, we know that this balanced bond with medium financial risk and strong environmental alignment. Okay, now let's go from the final rating. So, based on our analysis, we propose at investment grade rating of A for Indian sovereign green bond. This rating reflects because of the moderate financial risk but strong environmental performance. From the financial justification, the fiscal deficit and debt to GDP ratio remain area of concern, which requiring continuous monitoring. However, strong GDP growth and manageable inflation offset this risk. And from the environmental justification, we know that the bond align well with Indian climate goals, with measurable progress in renewable energy capacity and emission reduction. This factor increase its attractiveness to sustainability-focused investor. And in the market position, we compare to other sovereign green bond globally. India bonds demonstrate a strong commitment to sustainability but face moderate financial challenge. Therefore, our rating chapter this balance. And for the recommendation, To maintain and potentially improve the bond rating, we recommend the following, which is the first, fiscal stability. The government should focus on reducing its fiscal deficit and debt to GDP ratio over the medium term. And from the transparency, there should be a clear reporting on how green bond proceeds in utilized will enhance investor confidence. Therefore, regular impact assessment are crucial. And from the climate resilient, expanding investment in climate resilient infrastructure will further solidify the bond sustainability profile. And therefore, additionally, we encourage India to continue its leadership in renewable energy development as it significantly enhances the bond appeal. And in conclusion, Indian sovereign green bond is a promising instrument that combines financial stability with strong environmental performance. While financial risks are moderate, the government's commitment to sustainability enhance the bond credibility and attractiveness. Therefore, our investment grade rating of A reflects this balanced view, which offering a reliable guide for investor interested in Indian green finance market. I think that's only from me about the rating of this bond. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alvin. So your presentation about the credit rating, credit score rating, give me most important as an investor because the rating of the sovereign green bond that you have said earlier is A, right? That means the sovereign green bond is good and is have assured me more to pick it as my investing. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Mohan Raj and I am here to as a regulator overseeing India's renewable energy sovereign green bonds, in short term SGRBs in market. Let me share my screen first. Okay. Okay, can you all see my slides? Okay. In my role, I ensure that all participants in this market adhere to the national and international standards to promote transparency, sustainability, and accountability. Today, we will engage in a discussion about the regulatory framework for sovereign green bond, the alignment of these bonds with global green finance standards, and how robust governance is pivotal for market growth and the realization of environmental goals. I will also address questions from the perspectives of issuers, investors, and rating agencies. So you all can ask me any questions in the middle of I'm discussing this thing. Okay. First of all, the importance of regulations in green bond markets. As regulators, our main objectives focus on ensuring that India's renewable energy sovereign green bonds operate in alignment with both national and international standards, such as Green Bond Principles (GBP) and the Climate Bond Standards (CBS). This ensures we are on the right track and adhering to the global best practices. We also prioritize transparency to prevent greenwashing. It's crucial that the funds raised through these bonds are used exclusively for truly green projects, and we are committed to making sure this happens. Investors must be confident that the funds will achieve their intended environmental impact. In addition, we closely evaluate the market and environmental outcomes. Our goal is to ensure that sovereign green bonds contribute to India's climate resilience and broader sustainability objectives. We don't just want these bonds to succeed financially. We also want them to drive real and measurable environmental progress. Ultimately, our regulatory framework aims to ensure that issuers are transparent in their use of proceeds, aligned with sustainability standards, and that investors are safeguarded against risk like greenwashing. Because greenwashing is a major risk. This is all part fostering a growing market while maintaining high standards of governance and accountability. Until this everything is clear. Yeah. Ah.
Thank you
Is
for
everything
asking,
clear
and
now?
I have a question
Is
for
there any
you.
question?
How does the regulatory framework ensure that issuers have the flexibility to innovate and design green projects while still maintaining compliance with national and international standards?
Okay. I will answer your question now. Okay. Wait now. Okay. Okay, can you see my slide? Okay.
Yes, we can see clearly.
Okay, Aish. Okay. India's Green Bond Regulatory Framework is governed by the Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, with significant oversight from the Reserve Bank of India, RBI, and fully aligned with global standards. There are some key regulatory components, which is first is use of proceeds. Use of proceeds is funds raised through sovereign green bonds are strictly allocated to green projects such as renewable energy, solar or wind, energy efficient infrastructure, sustainable water management, and biodiversity conservation. For example, proceeds from sovereign green bond fund projects like the 500 megawatts solar park in Gujarat expected to offset 1 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions annually. Next is reporting and verification. Issuers must submit annual disclosures detailing the use of proceeds, project status, and environmental impact. Third-party audits are mandatory to verify these claims and ensure that projects are indeed green. The third is global alignment. India's sovereign green bonds are designed to meet international standards like the Climate Bonds Initiative (CBI) and Green Bond Principles (GBP). This ensures credibility and trust for the international investors. So, can I move the second part, or is there any question?
Excuse me, before you move on, I have a question regarding your presentation.
Okay.
So, what measures are in place to protect investors from potential risks associated with the misallocation of funds or the failure of green projects to meet their environmental impact goals?
Okay. Thank you, Aish, for the question. I will explain about that now. Okay. Assessing the effects of regulations on market growth. Actually, there are effects of regulation on market growth and environmental outcomes. There are two things. First in market growth. Okay. India's green bond market has shown impressive growth due to robust regulatory environment. First is total issuance. The inaugural issuance of sovereign green bond in 2023 raised 1,600 crores, equally to 2 billion, highlighting the strong investor interest in these bonds. Second is annual growth. India's sovereign green bonds issuance is projected to grow at annual rate of 15%, driven by increasing demand for financing renewable energy and climate resilient projects. The third is comparative analysis. In the Europe, green bonds standards ensures high compliance, and India's regulations have adopted similar standards with mandatory third-party audits and impact reporting. In China, rapid issuance is supported by government backing, much like India's sovereign guarantee and on green bonds. reducing the credit risk for the investors. And the effects of regulation on environmental outcomes is our regulatory framework is designed to ensure that sovereign green bonds have a measurable environmental impact. It includes some key outcomes. First is carbon dioxide emissions reductions. Projects funded by sovereign green bonds are projected to contribute significantly to India's climate goals. For example, the Batla Solar Park in Rajasthan, the world's largest, will contribute to reducing carbon dioxide emissions by millions of tons annually. Renewable energy growth. Sovereign green bonds are helping India scale up its renewable energy capacity as As of 2023, India's renewable energy capacity has grown to 176 gigawatt, up from 44 gigawatts in 2015, aligning with India's goal of achieving 500 gigawatts of non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030. And another thing is water and climate resilience. Investments in projects like irrigation water systems and water conservation in Maharashtra are improving agricultural productivity and helping build climate resilience, essential for the country's long-term sustainability. Is there any question? If not, means I can move on to the challenges with regulatory solutions. Okay, now I will go to the regulatory solutions. Okay. Okay, our regulatory framework is designed to tackle several challenges that might hinder the growth of green bond market. First is greenwashing risk. As I told previously, greenwashing risk is a major risk. The solution for the greenwashing risk is by mandating independent verification of green credential. We minimize the risk of misrepresentations, ensuring that funds are used for their intended green purpose. Second is high issuance cost. Solution for that is India provide tax exemptions for and fiscal incentives to green bond issuers, which reduces the cost of issuance and make the market more accessible to a broader range of issuers. Third is solution the investors awareness is the third one. Solution for the investor awareness is the SEBI and the other agencies conduct public awareness campaigns and road shows to educate investors about the financial and environmental benefits of investing in the sovereign green bonds. Other than that, now I will move on to the regulatory insights, leveraging data for the regulatory insights. We use advanced panel data analysis as the panel data analysis which ISWA used to track and analyze the effectiveness of regulatory measures in India, Europe, and China. First of all, I will talk about Europe. In Europe, stringent regulations have been linked with higher investor confidence as they ensure that proceeds are allocated to truly green projects. And in China, the rapid issuance in China underscores the importance of government backing in scaling up green bond markets. Similarly, in India, benefits from sovereign guarantees which reduce credit risk. In India, our analysis indicates that sovereign green bonds are positioned to outperform in emerging markets due to the combination of strong regulatory support, high investor demand, and solid environmental impact. In the impact matrix, we track key metrics. The key metrics we track is carbon dioxide emission is avoided, and renewable energy generated, and project progress to continuously evaluate the regulatory effectiveness of sovereign green bonds. So that's all from me. Before I go to the conclusion, is everything clear to everyone?
Mr. Mohan, I think
Yes,
I think I have a question regarding this framework.
Okay.
So my question is, how does the regulator framework ensure that the environmental impact claims made by issuers are not only verified but also consistently monitored throughout the lifetime of the project funded by the sovereign green bond?
Okay. Consistently monitored throughout the lifetime projects are funded by sovereign green bond. Okay. The regulatory framework for the renewable energy sovereign green bond in India is designed to create a transparent and accountable and effective green bond market, Mr. Alvin. And with strong governance and the alignment of India's sovereign green bond to international standards, we are, as regulators, ensuring that these bonds not only drive economic growth but also contribute significantly to our climate goals, Mr. Alvin. Is that okay?
Yes, Mr. Mohan. Thank you for the answer.
Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Pavitra, Aish, and Alvin, these questions are done. Is there anything you want to add?
No, I'm
Okay.
quite understand and assured about the sovereign green bond now.
Okay, thank you guys. And in conclusion, the regulations governing India's sovereign green bonds are designed to provide a transparent, accountable, and sustainable framework that benefits both investors and the environment. The regulatory oversight ensures that these bonds contribute effectively to India's green transition while aligning with international standards. That's all from me.